For many years, the bites of venomous habu snakes have been a big problem in some places in Japan. These snakes greatly influenced people's lives. For example, in 1980, about 400 people were bitten, and some of them did not survive. There are other venomous snakes in Japan, but the habu and their relatives, such as the eastern muzzles, cause the most trouble. They are related to rattlesnakes and vipers, and their cousins are coral asps and cobras. This is so that you understand who the Japanese had to deal with. Many people who were bitten were in danger because there was no antidote for a long time. When the antidote appeared, it still had to be delivered to the victims. The antidote was made in liquid form, so it could not be stored in villages where there was no electricity, and bites most often occurred in such places. It was difficult and expensive to conduct electricity, and it was not easy to create another antidote either. But Japan has found a smart solution: to bring into the country an animal that eats snakes and is not afraid of them. But things didn't go as planned. In 1979, about 30 Indian mongooses were brought to Amami Oshima Island to fight habu snakes and rats. Mongooses are native to Asia, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and Pakistan. But the wildlife of Japan was not ready for such guests. By 1993, it became clear that there were too many mongooses. Their number had grown to 10,000 by 2000. The question is, has the number of snakes decreased? Yes, but the mongooses didn't affect it. It turned out that the mongooses were not interested in habu, although mongooses looked like the perfect solution. They are fast and agile, which makes them dangerous to cobras, and cobras are relatives of the hub. Mongooses have special receptors that make them less sensitive to cobra venom. Therefore, they can survive even after bites that would kill other animals. Evolution has helped mongooses learn how to kill snakes. They use their fast movements and sharp teeth. But there is one problem. Mongooses are active during the day, and habus are active at night. That is, they almost never meet. Even if they overlapped in time, it wouldn't help, because catching a snake is difficult. Why try to catch a snake if there are plenty of easy prey around, like mice and rabbits? It's like choosing between a complex dish and fast food. When people brought mongooses to the island of Amami Oshima, they hoped that these animals would help to cope with snakes. But the mongooses proved useless for this task, but they reproduced very well. In 2000, the Japanese government decided that it was necessary to reduce their number. At first, they tried to catch mongooses with simple traps along the roads, but it didn't work. The traps did not attract the mongooses, and then it became clear that something else had to be thought of. They started using special traps and poisonous baits that attract animals. Dogs that know how to look for mongooses have also been connected. This gave good results. The graph shows how the number of mongooses decreased when new traps made specifically for them were set. These traps couldn't catch other animals. Local residents also helped. Since 2005, groups of hunters have been walking through forests and mountains to catch mongooses. A lot of money and time were spent on this. Some may wonder, why all this? Why can't we just leave the mongooses alone? The fact is that instead of controlling snakes, mongooses began to hunt local animals such as Japanese tree hares. These hares are endangered and very rare. They only live on 2 islands. Mongooses have also greatly affected the populations of Ryukyu rats, which are also now endangered. So the fight against mongooses was important for the conservation of nature on this island. When mongooses were brought to the small Japanese island of Amami Oshima, they thought they would help get rid of snakes. But everything went wrong. These mongooses began to eat local animals and even poultry. They also ate fruits and crops and could also carry diseases. In 20 years, the number of some animals on the island has decreased by 40%. At first, everyone thought that mongooses would be useful, but it turned out that they are very dangerous to the local nature. Islands are special places where unique animals live that do not know how to defend themselves from predators. When the mongooses came, they became a big problem. These animals are very voracious and eat everything they can catch. It took almost 25 years to get rid of the mongooses. It was difficult and long, but Japan took the right step to preserve the native species. If invasive species such as mongooses appear in a new location, they need to be dealt with immediately. If you miss the moment, then it will be very difficult or even impossible to get rid of them. Now they no longer find mongooses on the island, which means they managed to destroy them all. This is a rare case in the world. It is usually very difficult to get rid of mongooses in large areas. Because of the mongooses, snake bites have stopped being such a big problem. By 2020, the number of bites has decreased. This was not due to the mongooses, but because people began to take measures and the antidote became more accessible. There are still mongooses on other islands, so the fight against them continues. The experience with Amami Oshima will be used in other parts of Japan. In the near future, experts will travel to the northern part of Okinawa, where mongooses have also been spotted. If they are not stopped, they may end up on Amami Oshima again. Mongooses were brought to Okinawa even earlier, and conditions there are better for them. So far, their population is controlled by fences, which do not allow the mongoose to break into new territories. These fences help protect local animals, including rare birds, which depend on mongooses not coming to them. When people want to get rid of pests, they sometimes bring other animals to deal with them. This is called biocontrol. Japan is not the first country to do this. Usually, before releasing new animals, scientists investigate how they will affect local animals and plants. This is done in order to avoid problems. For example, farmers use predatory insects to protect their fruit trees and vegetable gardens, but with the mongooses, it wasn't that easy. The Javanese mongoose was brought to Cuba, Jamaica, and other countries, and in most cases it worked. But when they decided to bring the mongooses to Hawaii, everything went wrong. In the 1800s, a lot of sugarcane was grown in Hawaii, but the rats started eating it, and it was difficult for the farmers to fight them. In 1872, they learned that mongooses had helped get rid of rats in the Caribbean. They thought, why don't we try it? In the 1880s, 72 mongooses from Jamaica were brought to Hawaii. Their offspring were sent to other islands, but not everyone agreed with this decision. Some people said that more research should be done before launching mongooses, but no one listened to them. It soon became clear that rats are active at night and mongooses are active during the day. They just haven't met. Instead of catching rats, mongooses started eating local animals and plants. Many birds and turtles are under threat. The situation was getting worse. To protect nature, fences were built so that mongooses could not enter the reserves, but it was too late to change anything in Hawaii. Mongooses have destroyed at least 8 species of birds, which are now endangered. So the story of the mongooses in Hawaii is a lesson in how important it is to think twice before making a decision about bringing new animals to an unfamiliar place. The government of Hawaii does not believe that mongooses have helped control pests. The fact is that before bringing mongooses, no one checked how it would affect nature. It can be said that Hawaii still got off lightly after the mongooses were brought to Jamaica in 1872. There they were supposed to catch rats, but instead they started eating local birds and lizards. Because of this, there were a lot of ticks in Jamaica, and the colonists complained a lot. But the authorities said that nature would fix everything by itself. On 4 small islands in the Caribbean, the lizards completely disappeared because the mongooses were too hungry. There are only 400 lizards left on the neighboring islands. Fortunately, people noticed the problem and started rescuing the lizards, moving them to safe places. Now there are almost 3,000 of them. Scientists are working to bring the lizards back to the islands. Recently, tombs were found in Egypt. In one of the paintings, a man is holding an animal similar to a mongoose on a leash. This is the only such image in Egyptian art. Although mongooses have never been fully domesticated, some people have kept them as pets to hunt snakes and rats. Scientists think that the mongoose could scare away birds to make hunting easier. In Sri Lanka, people use dogs to search for forbidden things. But a new idea has emerged. Why not use mongooses? Locals have always used them to scare cobras away from their farms. Thus, an application was submitted for financing a project to train mongooses to find prohibited substances. We even got $50,000. They hired a specialist and asked the zoo to give them a place to train. The idea was to release mongooses into a container with machine parts. If they found something bad, they came out with their tails up. It sounds strange, but the mongooses have successfully passed the tests. People were very happy, but the project was never implemented due to a change of leadership and unrest in the country. It's a pity because mongooses could be great helpers. If they made a movie about it, I would love to watch it. Don't forget to like it. See you soon.